Hey everyone, this is Tracy with Color Me This. Welcome to my channel and welcome back if you are returning. Today is a little bit of a different episode. This is going to be episode 50. So in honor of being episode 50, I decided to do something different. It is a DIY. I pulled out my Brutfuners because in my poll for you guys to help me decide what my next set of pencils I want to do a detailed walkthrough of, most of you, chose the Brutfuner squares. So my original set I have had for a long time. This was my first economy budget pencil that I bought, and this is my second set. I am preparing it to be used by my coloring group as they decide that this is something they really want to do. I'm going to be sharing sets of pencils for them to try out. So I already have my personal set, and they have specific special numbering on them for what I originally bought them for, and that would be confusing to a new colorist. So as I got these pencils out, I was reminded about how horrible these teeny tiny gold, very thin font numbers were to read. So I got frustrated enough that after I got them all out of the tin and into my temporary work case, I don't even have an actual case for them yet. This is a kind of an older beat up 250 case. So I've been using it to do numbering. I find it really handy for the pencils that don't have numbers on them at all, to get them all set up in color family order the way I want them in this case, do whatever I need to do the magic, and then I can transport them into their final case, that if I'm doing messy things like not doing any labeling, or in this case I'm actually writing on the wood of these pencils, I can not worry about this case, and if something happens to it, I'm okay with it. So the DIY part is, as you see, these are down to the wood. Because they're square, they make a really nice surface to write the numbers on, which saves me from having to type out all of these numbers in color family order in an Excel spreadsheet and then send it through the printer on one of my sticky back papers. So instead, I decided last night, it was pretty late, I think it was around 9 o'clock, that I decided that I was going to do something to get the paint off of one side right next to the gold letters. So we have always had, I think, I was probably the one who first bought this tool. There are different ways that it is called. I always call it a Dremel, and I believe it is a Dremel. So you will hear me calling it Dremel because I just think it makes it sound a more fancy pants tool. I used to use this to polish jewelry. So Hub has since bought his own. This is like an industrial one, and it has some extra capabilities. So he set me up with this round. I hope you can see that it is a round bit, and it has sandpaper on it. It has a RPM setting here, and I believe this is set pretty slow. Looks like 5 is the slowest. So I was using it at 15, and it goes up to 35. So I kept it pretty slow because I didn't need it to be zipping at a really high speed rate. And I'm going to be doing this backwards because I'm left-handed, and I want you guys to see, since most of you are probably right-handed and not left-handed. So first off, for each side, you'll see that I keep the pencils all going the same direction. I tend to always do that. I don't have any logic behind why I do it, but that way, when I was doing these, this was the same step for every pencil on all 5 pages, because this is the 120 set. So basically, with my non-dominant hand, your non-dominant hand, you will pull out a pencil, you hold it. I already have a towel that was covering, because you're going to be zipping off the paint, and you will get little paint bits everywhere, and it will be messy. And so I was standing at our workbench in the garage, and you just run this along the flat part. And this particular one, which is at the bottom, kind of hard to see, I can tell that I managed to zip off the paint in one nice smooth stroke. Not all of them were that smooth. If you look at this yellow, which is number 1, and we'll talk about that in a minute, I did not get a smooth stroke, and I might have gone a second time and then just left that little bit of paint because I was okay with there being a little bit of paint left over. So I zipped off. It took me less than 15 minutes because when you get going, it's pretty quick. And I leave the Dremel, or Dremel, you turn it on with this blue switch, and then you zip, you put this back, you pull out the next one, which you can do. And this is awkward for me because it's my right hand that was doing the pulling and the holding. Zip off the next one, and you pull each pencil out. I leave them in the case. They're in their little slot, so that helps to stabilize and keep them still so that the zipping off of the paint goes pretty quickly. And less than 15 minutes, it was like 13 minutes later, I was done. So then I came back in the house. I found the finest point Sharpie that I own, which is this one here, and its nib looks like this. And I decided initially that because zeros are a difficult number on a wood grain surface that's going horizontal, you can see all these zeros are a little bit awkward looking. So I decided I was not going to do any of the leading zeros. The way the Brutfuners are numbered, if you have them, is it's 3 numbers. And if it's number 1, it is 001, 002, 003. And I just decided I was just going to do 1, 2, 3 and drop the initial zeros. So now I have these nicely numbered pencils that everybody can read, because my purpose for having this coloring group is to, of course, get more fellow colorists addicted to colored pencils and coloring, and trying to deal with reading these tiny gold and silver numbers and names. It's very frustrating. So I am doing my best to eliminate the frustration for my coloring group that meets up. So that is all I have for episode 50. So I'm going to call this one in the books. Thank you so much for visiting again. Please do all of the YouTube things. I am growing my channel, and I appreciate the likes, the shares, all of the good stuff. If you feel my content is interesting and valuable and you have friends who would also appreciate it, please forward a share to them. If you have any other tricks to labeling your pencils that you've tried, I have done sticky labels. I've done zipping off the paint. I've done on the matte finish. There are some that are a matte finish. You can try to number them with white gel pen. I can tell you that when you do use sticky paper, and then the fourth thing I've done is with my brother label maker, I bought extra sticky label tape, the TZE tape, and nothing has stuck to my pencils. So what I found works best, if you do want to print out labels, and like if your handwriting just isn't, you just don't think that's going to work for writing them all with a Sharpie, you can attach, these especially are a flat surface, so rather than getting rid of the paint, if you don't want to, but you could get rid of the paint and add a label, that would work. But then I've found that if I wrap a piece of Scotch tape long enough that it then covers itself, of all things, that will keep the sticky label on the longest. It doesn't work forever, I have found, but it is the best solution for printouts. But let me know your thoughts if you have another way that you have found to label your pencils. I have done the the zipping off the paint on the smaller sets. This is the biggest set that I actually felt zipping off the paint was going to work really well. Again, because they're square, it was like a no-brainer. I've also done the 50 set that I had of the triangle-shaped stapler, and I gave my mom that set, so I no longer have that set. Yeah, so let me know your thoughts. Again, I appreciate you visiting my channel and hope you come back again. And as always, thanks for watching.